What is going on, awesome people? It is Friday the 13th. Normally, that's correlated with bad luck, but not today. Today is going to be a good day. It's going to be a great day because I have a special guest. Her name is Sareh Seyedkazemi. We'll get to her in a second. Hope you're all doing as well as you can be given these circumstances. I know every day sucks. I know every day is hard, but we got to keep on lifting each other up. So happy Friday. For those of you who don't know, we've been doing these awesome people Instagram lives for a few days now, and doing it with our awesome uniters. If you don't know what a uniter is, uniters are specifically the awesome individuals that have been helping out at Unite and Conquer, organizing all of these events in South Florida that we've been doing, as well as creating content to reach a global audience. And this Wednesday, January 18th, me and our fellow uniters were producing a new program called Countdown to Freedom in Iran. And it's essentially a 90-minute live stream that's going to be going through our YouTube channel, Unite and Conquer's YouTube channel, which you can click on the link in my bio to subscribe. And it's essentially a program committed to shining a bright light on Iran and what's happening on Iran. We're always going to have a special guest, somebody that's doing something amazing in this entire movement, in this revolution. And we're going to be honoring victims, and we're going to be making sure that we call out the names of anybody that is at risk of execution, and any other important news and updates. There's also going to be some Persian poetry, because why not, you know? And so that's what the countdown is. It's premiering this Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. I hope you tune in. And perhaps some of you may recall we had a live stream rally for Iran on November 11th. It's pretty much a condensed version of the live stream rally for Iran. So if you watch a 12-hour program back on 11/11, we hope you join us again on 1/18 and help us in some shape or form grow this weekly program. I believe, and I hope you agree, that a English-speaking program like this, that is literally run by the people who want to be the voice of the people of Iran, is needed, it's necessary, it's important, it's impactful, and it needs support. So it needs support by either viewership, it needs support by either contributions, or it needs support by sponsorship. All that information on how you can support it is in the link in the bio on how you can help Countdown to Freedom in Iran. Now, we're counting down to me welcoming the one and only Sareh Seyedkazemi. I can read off her bio a little bit, but really what I want to tell you is that when I started to kind of like put a word out that, hey, if anybody wants to help volunteer in the things that we're doing with the events in South Florida, there was one individual specifically that stood out from day one. She put so much of her heart, her soul, her passion for Iran, her love of community, her kindness, her badassness, her experience, her talents. You get where I'm getting at. She was just one of those people that stuck out like a sore thumb, but in a great way. And she's become like a partner in crime for what we've been doing. And I keep on saying that the silver lining of this whole revolution and what we've been going through have been all these uniters, and then just a certain few individuals have stood out even more, where they've become truly like sisters to me, and that is who Sareh Seyedkazemi is for me. So I'm so happy to have her. Here's her, man, see, I get emotional just thinking about her. Shit. Okay, so Dr. Sareh Seyedkazemi is first and foremost a mother to Saba, who's very cute, by the way, wife to Orang, who's a gentleman and a scholar, sister to Setara, and daughter of Moshtaba and Nahid. And first of all, I love how her bio pays homage to her amazing family, you know, and her father, Moshtaba, has been an absolute trooper in the past month, dealing with some health matters, but Misayik Pahlevun, and surrounded with an incredible daughter and family like Sareh, he's been able to overcome this challenge yet again, and he's going to continue to get stronger. Professionally, as a licensed pharmacist for 15 years, Sareh has led in various roles, most recently serving as Director of Scientific Communication for Janssen Infectious Diseases and Vaccine. Sareh is an avid fitness enthusiast with experience in collegiate sport, strength training, and nutrition coaching. This is why she can kick my ass any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Her professional and personal interests are driven by her passion for fostering empathy and authenticity in communication and relationship. Is she not awesome? Of course she is. Let's bring her on so you can get to know her better. She came on briefly. So you might remember her lovely little face, but here she is live in person. In 3, 2, 1, help me welcome Sareh Seyedkazemi.
Iman, I'm going to cry already. How did you do that so quickly? My God.
I beat you to it myself. I was getting choked up about reading the bio. How are you, Sarah, doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for the kind words, Iman. I think I'm purple at this point. I'm past.
Okay.
Bear
I'm
with me.
I'm I'm really excited that we get to have this conversation. We've been on the battlefield for the past few months, so we've gotten to know each other so much more, and it's been truly a pleasure getting to know you and your family. And you've been such a huge support for me as I truly needed a lot of support. And so thank you for everything that you've been doing. For those who don't know Sareh Seyedkazemi, why don't you go ahead and give a little background about yourself, and then we'll dig in and talk about some of the things I know you're very passionate about.
Sure, Iman. Thank you so much. The feeling is mutual. You and the Uniters has truly been the silver lining for me as well. So I just want to put that out there. For those that don't know me, my name is Sareh Seyedkazemi. I was 6 years old when my entire family left Iran. So my mom, I was amongst a lucky group of individuals where my mom, my dad, myself, and my sister were all able to, with a visa, leave Iran in 1985. And we've all lived here in the United States ever since. So I've kind of now, in 43 years, over the last 37 years, battled between not feeling completely Iranian and not feeling completely American, but have somehow come up with this balance of where I am today. You mentioned I'm a pharmacist. I have my doctorate degree in pharmacy. For the majority of my life, I had the majority of American friends, and I've developed several amazing friendships. But like I said, over the last several months alone, I feel like I have developed this family of predominantly Iranian Americans, very similar to myself, that I have just developed these connections with, and people, some of which I feel like I have known my whole life. And it just truly goes to show that, you know, even though I've lived here the majority of my life and visited Iran probably 2 or 3 times, of which was amazing, and I was able to understand why I feel this deep connection to that country and my family there. But it has truly been incredible learning for me over the past couple of months to develop these relationships that I so greatly will appreciate, and I know will continue long past Iran getting free from this Islamic regime. But just a little bit about myself. As you mentioned, I have a daughter, 8 years old, who I love. I'm married to Orang. My parents, my sister mean everything to me. So that's me in a nutshell.
Love it. So yeah, I mean, for those of us who really haven't grown up in Iran, I know you were there for the first 5-6 years, but really growing up in Iran, we're getting our first taste of being super submerged in a very Iranian community. So it's been beautiful. It's been bittersweet, right?
Definitely. There's been so many eye-opening moments for me, and at the end of the day, I land where I was before I started this. That you know, you have to find your balance and you have to find your authentic place, because nothing changes just because of the people around you being different. And at the end of the day, you have to be yourself. You carry yourself accordingly. You identify, you know, the factors that are around you, but at the end of the day, you are who you are, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. And I'm going to focus on the positives of what I've seen over the last several months. And that's it. That's all there is to it. But definitely bittersweet, Iman. There's been a few eye-opening moments that you just kind of sit back and wonder, like, wow, that hit me like a Mack truck. You know, wasn't expecting that. But hey, you pick up and carry on for the bigger picture. Keep your eyes on the prize. We're all focused on what we need to do for amplifying the voices of the people of Iran and helping achieve this overall mission of regime change. And that's what we stay focused on.
So I know one thing that you've been mentioning a lot is balance. You know, you really try your best to keep that balance. There's this compartmentalization that we briefly talked about. How important is it to figure out how to keep things balanced during such volatile times? And what do you do to keep that balance?
Iman, I think it's so important. It's critical on an individual basis. I mean, let's keep it at an individual one-on-one basis, not leaders identifying misbalances and things like that. But for one-on-one, it's something for me that I think about almost every day. When I open my eyes in the morning, I try my best not to go to my phone first, and I really just kind of like see how it is I'm feeling, because you don't wake up the same person every single day. And so you kind of have to do an inventory of what you're feeling, where the pain is, if you have pain. Do I wake up with a headache today? What does that mean in terms of my functioning? What am I capable of today? What are my goals for today? And it doesn't have to be so formal, but like really just get in tune with where you're at. For me, that happens on a daily basis, Iman. In order to be able to function Some days I'm super productive. I have 5 goals that I can get to. Some days I feel like if I could just get through today, keep my daughter alive, I'm going to count that as a win. You know, if I can put a couple posts on Iran, I'm going to take that as a win. But it's a daily inventory for me. And I think it's super critical because then, you know, you impact your psyche. If you're constantly thinking you need to be at 100% and tomorrow you're at 25%, what is the impact that has on you and your motivation and how much you feel like, you know, how good you feel about yourself? It's not setting yourself up for success. I think it's absolutely critical, especially in these tumultuous times, to really, really, really be tuned into who you are, how you're feeling, what you're capable of, unapologetically.
You also mentioned to me that you've noticed that women are apologizing a lot more. And first of all, in general, there's more women in our group for what I'm still trying to figure out why we can't get more guys involved, but whatever it is, mostly women, but you've noticed that they apologize more and you want them to be more self-empowered. So I'd like for you to kind of explain that a little bit more, what your thoughts are about this.
Yeah, I think for anyone that knows me, you know, either personally or even professionally, I really do want to focus. And as a leader at work, I have a group of 4 women, now 4, it was 5, 4 women that, you know, are on my team. And I feel like women empowerment is critical. I have noticed, and I'm not an expert, but I have noticed that you're more likely to, I observe women being more apologetic about their shortcomings according to their own perceptions, right? You know, I'm so sorry I wasn't able to make it to this meeting. I'm so sorry that I have a conflict. I'm so sorry that I've been missing an action. I wasn't doing well. I'm so sorry that I chose to take a break, you know? And while the men on our team are outstanding, I love them. This is not intended to kind of call out women versus men in any way, but you're less likely to see that type of behavior from men. Not that they should be apologizing, but they just don't. It's not in their instincts. It's us as women that I feel like it's in our nature to be more apologetic, and it's just not necessary. You are enough. You are powerful. You have instincts that you can rely on. And we need to embody that power. We need to embody that self-confidence, even on the days where you don't have it. Even on the days where you're like, fake it till you make it, because guess what? You are enough and you are powerful. As a woman, if you're a mother, you have, you know, different instincts in that sense. If you're a pet owner, you have different instincts, and you can embody all of that. Look at the women. There's so much to take from what's happening in Iran, you know? There's so much power in what they're doing that each and every one of us have that. We just need to recognize that we are more likely to put ourselves in that, you know, self-critical, hypercritical situation. And instead, we should harness that power of empathy, harness that power of caretaking to have authentic conversations, to be able to develop teams, to be able to empower ourselves, even if it's just you on a one-on-one basis. You know, it's just so important for women because we need everyone in this fight. And you're more likely to be critical of yourself if you're constantly putting yourself down. And we need that. We need you. We need you on a daily basis. We need you to have mental strength, confidence, and even if you feel the need to apologize, put it away, because more than likely you've done enough. You're doing enough. You are enough. You know, so I check myself on this. I'm not calling out anybody else. But every time I hear someone apologizing, I'm sending that person a text on the back end like, hey, no, not on my watch. Cut it out. No, just stop it. Because, you know, I just feel really strongly that, you know, we tend to criticize ourselves more often. And it's just not necessary.
I also just saw Paris's comment where she said, add the Iranian taro and also Canadian niceness. And it's like the worst combination that leads to exactly what you're saying right now.
Yeah, that too.
So on the topic of women and perhaps Iranian women, but I don't know if you were specifying Iranian or not, what's your, like, how have you been inspired by the woman in Iran? Obviously, this is the first woman-led revolution. You know, what are your thoughts that come to mind when you think of the Iranian women that are risking their lives for freedom?
I mean, talk about operating in the unknown. right? I mean, they know one thing, and that's that they want regime change. If we let all of our fears get in the way of what we want to happen, nothing will get done. Our insecurities will be our demise unless we put a foot in front of them and say, you know what? That's what they're doing, physically putting their lives on the line for it. They don't know what the outcome of this is going to be. No one does at this point. But they know that what they want is important enough to fight for, important enough to put your insecurities and fears aside. To me, that's what I take away every single day. I apply it at work. I apply it when we talk about, bandwidth when it comes to putting together events. Who has bandwidth right now? When you think about it realistically, who has the bandwidth? All our lives are continuing the way they were before. No one has put a pause on anyone. I certainly haven't. I still work. I'm still a mother. I just went through some of the hardest things of my life with my family. But with the support of my friends, I was able to kind of put those fears aside and continue the fight and what we need to do. It's just so critical that we take those learnings from these women in Iran. I mean, to take the initiative, to stand up without any defense, all of their fears remaining, all of their lives continuing. Nothing has stopped for them, but yet they continue to put all of that aside and focus on what they need to do. And that's what I take away, Iman.
So you mentioned that you left Iran when you were 6 years old. And yeah. I see right now how passionately you're talking about the Iranian women that are fighting for all these things. You've been removed from Iran for more than 35 years. What is it? What is that keeping the fire inside of you? What is it that while you still have your job as a mother, your job as a wife, your job as working at the pharmaceutical company, what is it that keeps you so wanting to be involved and just doing what you're doing on a daily basis?
Yeah, Iman, I mean, obviously the theme of this revolution has been woman-like freedom. And to say it shortly, I think I've mentioned this before, my parents afforded me just that, the chance to be an independent woman, to make decisions around my own life, and to have freedom in the United States when we moved here when I was 6 years old. And it was important enough for them to do it that they gave up their entire livelihood. As established professionals, that's as if I were to leave right now to another country that I don't speak the language, I don't know anything about, so that my daughter could have a chance at a future. They did that for me. And so how could I sit back? How could I not want to afford that to other people? Not to mention that I have family in Iran, right? Not to my own personal family who I have seen work so hard and to be disillusioned by the fact that, a future for them or their children is limited because of this regime. On a personal note, obviously, I still have family there. But you have to be living under a rock if you can't empathize enough to apply that to the rest of the country. I was afforded that. How can I just sit back and not do everything in my power to allow everyone else to have the same freedom that I did? I don't know what the future of Iran will look like. I don't know what's best for Iran, but for as long as they are fighting and telling me, hey, we don't want this, I can't just sit back.
You mentioned your daughter, and Saba has been, a part of some of your posts. She comes to every single one of the demonstrations. What is it that you hope for her to take away from participating in all these things you're doing? And what has she taken away?
Yeah, I'm really, really happy that Iran is at the forefront of her mind now. She walks around singing with us, Surud Iran mikhune now, all of us at Iran. And I mean, these are things she never even knew before. and I take responsibility for that. But now I am where I am mentally, and now I have a different kind of perspective on it, and if you will, and I'm proud of Iran being at the forefront of her mind. I'm proud that she wants to bring awareness in her small ways that she can, whether it be at school or wearing her Free Iran shirts, thanks to Yagana June, who was on earlier. But now she cares. Now she sees how women have been so empowered in Iran, and how important it is to speak up, to chant when something is not right. Prior to this happening, I have always spoken to Saba about equal human rights, and specifically the plight of Black Americans here in the United States. It's something that I've always been very passionate about, that, even prior to George Floyd's scenario, I've always spoken to Saba about equality, and not just equality to identify what existed before in terms of racism, but more in day-to-day interactions today. When you see something that's not right, you speak up, And while I have had fears of her coming to some of the protests for a variety of reasons, I am happy that she has come, because now she understands, wow, what mommy's up there chanting, she must really believe in something. Who is Mahsa Amini? Why are we saying her name? And I'm proud to tell her these stories. I'm proud that this is on her mind. I'm proud that she feels like she is empowered to do something, even as an individual, So these are the things that I think I'm most proud of that she's taken away from this.
I love that. Yeah, I mean, like some of the individuals that bring their children, especially the daughters, it's been kind of cool how it seems like they really want to be there. Like nobody's forcing them to be there, not dragging their feet to be there. Kids can't really hide it very well. If a kid enjoys being somewhere or not being over there. So it's always very heartwarming to see them, especially sometimes when they get emotional too. Then you know that they've really connected with what's happening. So kudos to you and Orang for great parenting and instilling these important things to the children. Parashun from Montreal has a question. She wants to know, Sareh, what aspect of your Iranian identity are you proudest of as someone who is also a free American woman who has a very strong dual identity? Great question, Paris.
Yeah.
It's as if she's a journalist.
Maybe. Small tie, possibly. Honestly, I think it's the hospitality, it's the empathy, it's the genuine compassion for other people, and putting, as much as it can sometimes be your downfall, the tendency to put other people first and to think outside of yourself is the part of my culture that I feel most proud of. And in fact, I think that I have, to a degree, to a fault, almost sometimes embodied too much. But I love that about our culture. And it's the one part that I've always felt proud of, that, I think that if someone were to describe me in some way, a friend or a stranger even, when I identify someone in need, I will always be there. I will do my best to be there. And I have always connected that to being Iranian, because I know that in certain parts of Iran, they won't have bread to eat, but if they have a guest, they'll offer that same bread to their guest. And that, to me, it makes me emotional just thinking about it. It's something I'm extremely proud of. Not just empathy, but this hospitality and this genuine love for other people.
Well, it's very clear that these type of traits, they're as a result of a great family environment. So I have no doubt that in your household, this was all practiced and shown by example. So let's make the last part of this conversation focus on your parents, which I know you love dearly and stuff. Tell me about their influence on this, whether it's in your life or whether it's been with this whole revolution. You touched on it very briefly a couple minutes ago, but I want you to share whatever it is as far as your parents are concerned, the role that they've played into who you are and who you're being at this critical time for Iran.
Thanks, Iman. I don't know why it's particularly difficult for me to talk about. I already mentioned my parents sacrificed everything, and I know I'm not alone. I know everyone probably on this live has a similar story. My parents were both professionals in Iran, and with two daughters in tow, one 12 and one 5 approaching 6, they made a very difficult decision, literally, to sell everything they had, to stop what they were working, and to move to a country where they did not speak the language. My mom became a seamstress after working in Taco Bell for some time, and my dad became a handyman, essentially, working for other people with very little money in their pocket. And they, quite honestly just worked day and night, sometimes through fears of deportation, through interactions of some very horrible people, just so that my sister and I can have an education, not to get married, not to have children, not even to have a family, but just so that we can have an education. And watching them work so incredibly hard for the majority of their life instilled something in me that I can't put in words. I owe them literally everything, and I am who I am because of my mom and my dad. When I look at myself in the mirror, I see my mom and my dad. They are, everything good and you see in me is from my parents. And my dad in particular, you know, he has been an activist his whole life, even before it was cool to be an activist. And to be honest, Iman, I feel like it was always his dream to do what you're doing right now and to create a team of uniters. And that's why he's so drawn to you, because, you know, he has been against this Islamic regime since we got here. My father no longer connects with Iran as it is today because of this government. And he has even said to me, like, I refuse to invest a penny even in traveling there because I don't want to support this regime in any way. And so what we are doing today is his dream. And it does definitely drive me. If I'm in any way considered a leader, it's because I have lived my life watching my dad activate and watching my dad have conversations and question people and stick by his ethics of not investing in Iran, not, you know, doing things to his benefit just to make money, because he knew that at the end of the day, the people of Iran would be suffering for as long as this regime stayed in power. And so, you know, I feel very proud to, one, to have met you, Iman, to be able to have this opportunity to be a partner in crime to you and to the Uniters group. It's been extremely rewarding for many reasons, and we won't be stopping, obviously, until Iran is free and that the people of Iran have what they want. But in a very different way, it's been extremely, extremely cathartic to be able to kind of now understand what my father has been doing for the majority of my life, and to be able to kind of have these conversations with him now to say, okay, I didn't understand why you put yourself through that hardship before, but I do now. And I do understand why now. So it's been really rewarding in that sense. Sorry if that was a long-winded answer.
No, it was perfect. And as you were talking,
no, sorry.
No problem. As you were talking, oh yeah, that's right, Chinigi. But yeah, as you were talking, you know, I'm having certain memories of. I'm making it seem like it's years ago, but it was 3-4 months ago. But the first time that I met your father was when you guys were stopping right behind the Torch of Friendship, and you opened up the door, and then I saw your father, and I immediately thought of my own father when I saw him. And then just seeing him, how actively involved that he was, and then just like the poetry that he read a few months ago, and then he did it again 2 weeks ago at the mural. It was amazing. And so I'm doing it for individuals like your father, and it's our collective dream. And we all need to work together to turn his dream into a reality. And so his dream is our dream, and our dream is his dream. So that's why we're able to have this bond, and which is why we're hopefully going to continue to unite and conquer, you know, and we won't stop.
That's sad. Don't.
Well, in the closing part of this wonderful conversation, Sareh, I always give an opportunity to have somebody give their last words to whoever they want, either everybody or specifically maybe the Iranians inside of Iran, but the virtual mic is yours to give any final thoughts and words.
Thank you. To the people of Iran, I wish I could say it better in Farsi, but I'm going to say it in English. I admire you. I'm looking up to you. I'm following you. I will not stop until what you are looking for is achieved. And I know that day is coming soon. And to my compatriots here, to the Iranians and non-Iranians on the live or to see this live, you know, push yourself every day to see what more you can do. All of us have struggles. All of us are having hardships. All of us are struggling to find the time. But it's so important. The people of Iran need us. We all together can certainly do more. on an individual basis, one-on-one. It doesn't have to be extravagant. It could just be more than you did yesterday. And I know that together, we're definitely going to reach what we're looking for. We just have to keep at it.
I jumped the gun, Sarah. There's one more important thing to talk about, and that's Monday's silent demonstration. So please, please go ahead and touch on that, please, as much as you can.
Yeah, so Iman mentioned the countdown definitely happening on Wednesday the 18th, but on the 16th, on Monday, early evening at 3:30, we're going to announce it shortly after this live. We're going to organize another silent demonstration, this time on Lincoln Road, so right in front of, starting in front of Segafredo Restaurant, which is 1040 Lincoln Road in Miami Beach. We're going to start a silent demonstration at 3:30. So please come prepared with your own signs, the goal being to bring awareness to the IRGC terrorists. As you know, the European Parliament is meeting also on the 16th to start discussions around, well, not start, but to continue discussions around what's going on with the revolution in Iran, essentially, with aiming to essentially, in a very thoughtful way, to mitigate legal as well as practical concerns that come along with this, but to begin conversations around putting the IRGC on terrorist lists, which certainly come with several consequences. A lot of sanctions already are in place. However, having this be denoted as, having the IRGC being denoted as a terrorist certainly comes with additional consequences, such as, you know, obviously being a huge political symbol, but also freezing of assets and whatnot. And so there's going to be several discussions amongst other member European states, and that's really what we want to bring awareness to. And so any conversations tied to bringing awareness around IRGC as a terrorist organization, we want to support. So in alignment with that, we are going to do this silent demonstration on Monday. And we're going to have additional local events planned soon, so we'll continue to verbalize those either through the countdown or on these lives or on our social media platforms.
Yeah, and Sarah, I want to thank you and Mona Jun and the small group of individuals that are helping put together Monday's demonstrations. And for those of you who have anybody in South Florida that you know of, please let them know about this. You can message me for details, but I will post it. It's going to be on the Let's Unite and Conquer Instagram page. It's going to be posted all this evening, or you can follow Sareh as well. But we need to spread the word because, first of all, it's short notice. Second of all, already in South Florida, it's a very small community. So we need to definitely get the word out as much as possible. So this Monday, Miami Beach, Lincoln Road, at 3:30 p.m. So thank you, Sarah Jun, for that. And thank you for your time, and appreciate you sharing your story. Sending you and your family lots of love. And omide.
Azadi.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Iman Jan, thank you.